Welcome to the show, sports fans. This is the Treasure Valley Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.
Oh, hey, what's up? Welcome in. It's the Treasure Valley Prepcast on IdahoSports.com. Nothing like awkward silence to get it started. My name is Brandon Baney. Here's our Treasure Valley expert, Logan Green. LG, we're setting the bar low right out of the gate.
You left everybody hanging. They were all wondering where you were at and just waiting on the edge of their seats for you to show up.
Yeah, I hit record and then I remembered I had the blinds in my office open and the sunlight causes weird shadows and stuff with my face. So I got up real quick to close those and I looked and it was all time to
quicker than that.
Yeah, well, I'm not quick at anything, as everybody knows. So we are going to, as quickly as we can.
Quick-witted.
Yes, quick-witted, but in terms of actual athletic ability, not so much. Hey, this is the last show of the school year. Last show of the season, Logan.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? I feel like we were just here getting things started, talking about week 0 football, and now all of a sudden we're all done, ready to go for the summer and wrap everything up. It was a super busy weekend. I feel like this is, there's weekends right in the fall where there's state soccer, volleyball, and then there's some state football tournament games going on, and that's busy. And then during the winter, it's kind of spaced out a little bit more, but this weekend it's very busy. Softball, baseball, plus track and field, plus a variety of other things. You got some rugby teams out there that play lacrosse. There's just so much that happens this weekend everywhere around the state.
Yep. We are going to be covering specifically on this spring sports championship wrap up. Track and field, tennis, golf, softball, baseball, in that order. Yeah. And we're going to start, for simplicity's sake, we're going to start at 5A for every classification or for every sport and move our way down and cover all of the big storylines, the champions. We want to make sure all of them get their flowers here at the end of the school year. And then we'll head into the off season, into the summer, Logan, which isn't really a break for us, but
no. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's like might not be broadcasting as much or have as many scores to make sure you're ready for, but there's a lot of other things going on in the summer and maybe some exciting things down the pipeline. You never know.
Yes. Okay. Well, let's start on the track then with the track and field championships. 5A and 4A were hosted at Mountain View High School like they always are, and we are going to start with the 5A boys. Now, I've got some graphics I've been working on all day. They're not flashy by any means, but it's got the information, and that's what's most important. So here's what we've got, Logan, as we take a look at this. I'll direct your attention, first of all, to the team scores over here. And boy, that is not right either, because those are the girls' scores. So ignore that. The team scores were Rocky Mountain at 109, Boise at 107. 2 points separated the Grizzlies and the Brave in the team race. And Logan, it came down to the final event, the 4x400. You'll see on the right side all of the individual winners from the 5A state track and field meet. That 4x400 relay victory for Rocky Mountain is what sealed up the team championship for the Grizzlies as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, to come down to the end and have something, like that you're going to go out a winner on. They won other events too. Like you see there, the 4x100, they were able to take care of business. The pole vault, they were able to get that under their belt. But a lot of other teams you see coming in first in a lot of events, it just shows you, again, a lot like cross country, right? Where there's a lot of depth at Rocky in terms of that. Maybe not, they're right there at the top, but they're able to get things done second, third, fourth, places like that throughout all the events.
Yeah, in terms of the individual event winners, only 3 came from outside the Treasure Valley. One from North Idaho and a Highland hurdler that swept the hurdles race, is basically representing East Idaho. So then what are the big storylines? Well, Rocky Mountain, we talked about the 4x4 relay victory, but they also won the 4x100 meter relay in a time of 41.19 seconds. That is a new all-class record. Jacob Shade, Caden Kimball-Turner, Parker Simonson, and Braden Ankeny, who was lighting it up for Marcin last year at the state track championships, winning all the short sprints. He transferred to Rocky Mountain this year, and they're glad to have him. Not only was the anchor on that 4x1, he was also the anchor on the 4x4 relay, and he won the 200 this year as well. So Braden Ankeny, a triple champion, this time at Rocky Mountain instead of Marcin.
Yeah, just a great effort there for them to do that, to set the all-class record. And you're right, like, lots of other areas where Rocky Mountain just came in first and really knocked it out of the park here.
Other champs from Rocky Mountain, Landon Heemeyer in the 3,200, the 2 mile. That's a name we're used to calling from cross-country season.
Yeah.
And then in the pole vault, we had Brady Abbott clear 16 feet. The next biggest story, Logan, I would say, is Centennial's Kai Twaddle Dunham sweeping the throws, the only 2-event winner at the 5A meet. Kai Twaddle Dunham wins the shot put and the discus. And then after that, here are the rest of your champions from Centennial. Colton Osborne wins the 100. Noe Kemper of Boise wins the 800. The 1600 was really hotly contested. Nate Stadlanter of Meridian kind of surged ahead at the end to beat Kemper and Heemeyer. So these three guys all split the distance races. Kemper in the 800, Stadlanter in the 16, Heemeyer in the 32. They were all neck and neck all day in the distance races. Rocky Mountain broke that 4x1 relay we were talking about. The second place finisher was Mountain View, and their team of Cohen Dino, Owen McBride, Jacob Allen, and Garrett Freeman ran a time of 41.27. That also would have broken the all-class record, but, Rocky just happened to be a little bit quicker than that. How crazy is that? The top two finishers.
Yeah, both of you set news, a state record essentially, right? But, it stinks when you break a state record, but somebody else broke it in the same race and did it a little bit better than you. So, but hey, that's awesome. That just shows you a lot of great athletes out there, where if we're breaking 2 records on the same race, that's super impressive.
Yep. And then we had in the field events, Jordan McDonald of Boise clears 6'8" to win the high jump. Victor Biondombe, I always get his name wrong, from Capital, won the long jump, and Matt Irwin from Owyhee, who was their quarterback this past football season, he wins the triple jump, going 46 feet 5 3/4 inches. And again, the team race, ignore that on the left. Those were actually the girls' scores. Obviously, I was in a haze just I was putting all this together. Rocky Mountain wins the team title with 109 points. Boise takes second at 107. But speaking of the girls' race, these are the correct scores, Logan. Boise wins their 4th consecutive 5A championship with 121 points. Mountain View takes second at 99. Capital third at 96.5. But the Boise dynasty lives on in girls track and field.
Yeah, what else is new, right? Seeing Boise win a championship in this style of sport, right? Cross country is always so good there as well. We expected nothing less, right?
Yeah, and so if we look at kind of who led the way for Boise, they didn't have like a couple of dominant performers. They had one 2-event winner. It was Grace Lanphier. She swept both of the hurdles races, the 100 and the 300 meter hurdles. But otherwise, it was everybody kind of chipping in. Sophia Clark won the 400. She's headed to the University of Montana to run track next year. She set a new all-class record in the 400 at 55.38 seconds. You also had the Boise 4x4 relay of Lily Vertreese, Sammy Smith, Allie Bruce, and Sophia Clark running anchor win there. And then speaking of Sammy Smith, she came out and won the 800 in a time of 2 minutes, 13.29 seconds. And then Autumn Shoemaker wins the long jump as well. But the names we're used to seeing over the past couple of years for the Boise High girls. Which one were you most impressed with, Logan?
I mean, I think any time that you're able to win multiple events in first, that you got to look at that and say just overall that effort. And so you look at what, Sammy Smith, like you said, right? She won the 800, and then she was on that relay team, right? For the 4x400. Is that?
Yep.
Right. Like anytime you can go out and win that and then help your team win something else, that's just always that's tough to do because you see a lot of people that might say, you know what, I'm going to go out and I'm going to dominate this event and this event, right? Or, just one event and I'm going to get out, right? And she's able to dominate one event and then, hey, you know what, I want to step in at another one and not only do well in it, but help my team win a state championship because of it. So I'm going to go with what Sammy Smith is able to do.
Yeah, she was a double winner. Grace Lanphier, a double winner in the hurdles, like we said. And then Sophia Clark wins the 400 and runs the anchor on the 4x4.
I'm going to change my answer, Brandon. Give me the hurdles. Because every time I watch those, I don't know how they do it. So to win it, to be able to win 2 events in it, I'm changing my answer. Because that's a tough thing to do. That's kudos to Grace for being able to do that back-to-back events.
Yes, and this is not my Montana Grizzly bias shining through, but Sophia Clark, who's going to the University of Montana, she did set a new all-class record in the 400, 55.38, and then she ran the anchor on that 4x4, so to me, that was most impressive. But those weren't the only double winners on the day, Logan. I think the big storyline in the short sprints and maybe in Boise track this year has been Christine Huckins, the incredible sophomore from Capitol High. She sweeps the 1 and 200 meter dashes. In the process, sets a new all-class record in the 100 at 11.62 seconds. Just phenomenal.
Yeah, for a sophomore to come out and just burst onto the scene like this, come out and just blow everybody away, setting a new all-class record. Awesome performance. And then to back it up with winning another one as well in the 200.
And then she added a third first-place medal to her resume when Capital won the 4x200 relay. Kennedy Patterson, Eden Francis, Grace Russell, and then Christine Huckins ran the anchor. Logan, this was one of the most exciting finishes of the day. Capital sets a new all-class record with a time of 1 minute, 39.86 seconds. Boise took second. Their team of Grace Lanphier, Autumn Shoemaker, Adrienne Russell, and Sophia Clark. They came this close, Clark and Lanphier, to being Clark a 3-event winner, Lanphier a 3-event winner. They lost by 3/100ths of a second. So it came down to, they both ran 1:39. Capital ran 0.86. Boise ran 0.89. Both would have set the new all-class record.
Yeah. So we've got multiple events, right, where we've seen multiple people break the all-class record in it already, and we're only at 5A.
Yeah, it's just insane. Our last double winner was Ryland Stevens of Mountain View. She swept the distance races, the 16 and 3,200 meter runs. Other champions from the Treasure Valley, McKenna Chavez from Capital wins the shot put. All right, let's move on to the 4A boys track and field. Logan, any guesses on what happened there?
I'm going to, if you had to throw a shot in the dark, you'd say Bishop Kelly performed well, wouldn't you?
Yeah. And I mean, it's just year after year after year. And when you look at the leaderboard, they win every year with their strength and numbers, right? They did have some individual champions. I think biggest story was Rakeem Johnson, the offensive line commit to Michigan State University, but he sweeps the shot put and the discus, sets a new Class 4A record in the discus with a throw of 191 feet 1 inch. You had Cam Davis win the long jump, and then Bishop Kelly took the 4x4 and the sprint medley relays, but outside of that, it was just a lot of second, third, fourth, fifth place finishes piling up the points.
Yeah, because, I mean, you look at this list, look at the Idaho Falls all over this list, right? Idaho Falls was able to take home a couple of first place finishes, and you see them there finishing in second place. But Bishop Kelly just shows you, that obviously you've got some wins here, right? Cam Long, you mentioned the Rakeem Johnson. They won a relay race and the sprint medley. But within other events, they're right there. And look at the discrepancy, right? Bishop Kelly, was first. Idaho Falls was second, and they were 36 points behind. And then after that, another almost 22 points behind was third place. They just absolutely rolled through it. So you look at the middle of the pack and say, hey, those guys really helped out and helped their team win a championship.
Yeah, a shout out to Ridgeview taking third place with 69 total points. Ridgeview won the 4x2 and the 4x1 relays. That 4x2 relay set a new 4A record, 1 minute, 28.11 seconds. Xavier Fraley, Uluafiu Tinoe Feely, I know I got that name wrong. Cash McKee and Caden Warren from Ridgeview won that 4x2 relay. Xavier Fraley from Ridgeview also took the 400. So congratulations to the BK and Ridgeview athletes that showed up and showed out. BK wins the title with 127.5 points. On the girls' side, Logan, we also had a Treasure Valley champion, and no, it was not Bishop Kelly. It was Skyview eking out the 2-point win over Twin Falls, 72-70. This was one of, we'll get to the tightest finish here in just a moment, but this was the second closest race amongst all the track and field team races. And so for Skyview, you look at it, they only had one first place finish. It was in the 4x1. Melissa Iyer, Megan Cahoon, Briley McNichol, and Michaela Naylor on that 4x1 relay, which means Skyview, kind of like BK boys, piled up the points with second, third, fourth, fifth place finishes.
Yeah, just another performance from a Treasure Valley team coming out hot, right? We're 4 for 4 right now, aren't we? In terms of state champions, and this one a little closer, right? Obviously, you've got the number there, just a 2-point victory, and to get it done again. I mean, you look through the list and look at the Skyview players that won, and I see the 4x100 that they were able to win, but outside of that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon. That was the only event that they came away in first, correct?
Yes, that's it.
And then so again, middle of the pack, getting it done for the state champions.
Yep. And one other champion from the Treasure Valley at the 4A meet, Emmett freshman Addie Richards wins the pole vault by clearing 11 feet 4 inches. Just a freshman, so we're excited to see her career.
That's awesome. I'm sorry, I know it's not Treasure Valley, but you look at Neela Roberts. Man, she's a monster. Do you know has she committed somewhere yet, Brandon? Do you know?
Yeah, she's going to it's either Utah State or BYU. I can't remember.
I feel like a lot of people end up at Utah State. That seems pretty normal, but she seems to have won everything every time she's stepped out and raced.
BYU. Yeah.
Oh, BYU.
Going
That's
to
awesome.
run. So, yeah, she is a special athlete. She was the first 4-time winner in girls cross country. Nobody had ever done that before until she did that earlier this fall. And so, yeah, way to go there. Okay, 3A, Logan. Treasure Valley 5 for 5 on the team titles. McCall Donnelly romps to the title, 98 points to run away with it. Filer was second with 59. So Treasure Valley teams are now 5 for 5 in track and field championships so far, Logan.
Yeah, and when I was in the booth doing the baseball tournament, Lance is he coaches the high jumpers at Sugar, and he was telling me in the booth, he's like, if McCall Donnelly doesn't win the 3A boys track and field, something get in your bunkers, get in your shelters, like the world's coming to an end. That they should win that thing and run away. And sure enough, they almost double up second place.
Yeah, the tone was really set Friday morning. Van Vinson wins the pole vault with a new Class 3A record. He cleared 15 feet 3 inches. That is big league pole vault in there from Van Vinson. And then Matthew Daniels won the 400. George Spears won the 3,200. And McCall Donnelly also took the sprint medley. The next biggest story, I think, is probably Weiser. They set a new Class 3A record in the 4x100 relay. It was Jackson Laird, Jaden Walker, Brock Spencer, and Torin Walker. Those are some names we recognize from football season. They ran the 4x1 in 42.80 seconds. And then a lot of those same guys won the 4x4 as well. Jaden Walker, Jackson Laird, and Torin Walker all doubled up. And then they swapped out Brock Spencer for Garrett Walker. So 3 of the 4 runners for Weeds were in the 4x4. Last name Walker.
That's awesome.
So that was how Weiser did. And then the only double winner in terms of individual events and not relays, Logan, was Parma's Chase Clark. He won the shot put and the discus. He swept the throws.
Yeah, so another event here where we see these 2 events swept by the same person. You saw it with Rakeem Johnson right at 4A, and then you see it here with Claire.
Yep, it was pretty awesome. And then Zeke Van Hofwagen of Fruitland, he's only a sophomore. He won the long jump as well. His dad, Darren Van Hofwagen is the boys basketball coach at Fruitland, and they moved from Twin Falls this past year. So Fruitland says, yeah, we're glad Zeke and company came aboard.
Thank you.
Yes. So congratulations to McCall Donnelly for winning the 3A boys track and field championships. All right, Logan, is this where the Treasure Valley dynasty ends here?
And I already know the answer here. It does not end. Let's keep it rolling here.
Look at this. Girls track and field. Weiser aces out Sugar Salem by 1.5 points. This was the closest race of the day of any track and field championship. Weiser wins with 66 points. Sugar takes second, 65.5. Kimberly third at 60. Really, that tight three was very competitive.
Yes, and because I was in the booth at the 3A tournament, which is run by Weiser. So they were all tracking it. Everybody in the booth was Weiser folks tracking it. And then we got the announcement, we've won track and field. So I got it firsthand from them that they had won. And, they were going over some of the results and, just a great event there. You see Kaylee LaRue wins the 400. Man, she was one of the most fun basketball players I saw this year in girls basketball. We saw them play a couple times, Weiser, and she was a really fun player to watch there. And then she gets it done on the track as well.
Yeah, Kaylee LaRue also ran the anchor leg on the first place sprint medley relay team for Weiser as well, along with Madeline Wilkins, Bethany Walker, and Abby Wilkins. So Weiser was the story team-wise, but individual-wise, Logan, and this is a name we've said the last couple of years, Lydia Lindsay from Fruitland. She wins 4 individual events, no relays, the 100, the 200, the 100 hurdles, and the long jump. Simply incredible.
Yeah, that's a ton of stuff, hardware coming home with her. There was another Lydia in the mix, which is ironic, right, in the pole vault, just for good measure, right? But man, what a heck of a performance for Lydia Lindsay to just absolutely clean up at state last week.
Yep, fantastic job. All right, we're going to move to the 2A, and then I should mention 5A and 4A was at Mountain View, 3A, 2A, 1A were all at Middleton High School. Okay, 6 for 6. Treasure Valley teams are winning state track and field championships. Go ahead, Logan.
And well, it was interesting. I saw some video clips from I think it was the high jump, that the wind, because it was pretty windy on Thursday or Friday, that it kept blowing off the high jump bar. And so they had to wait, but they were out there in the dark doing the high jump on Friday night. They had the four-wheelers over there shining lights on it and in order to get it done, but they were going late into the night on some of these events because of that. It wasn't like dangerous wind. I think it was just enough to disrupt things ever so slightly. Maybe it wasn't the wind that ended up pushing it that late, but they were going very late into the night doing that.
Interesting. Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Treasure Valley teams 6 for 6 on team titles. 2A boys 7 for 7.
Boom.
Nampa Christian boys win the 2A title, 87.5 points. They beat Westside by 9.5 points. Westside was the second place finisher. Nampa Christian wins both the 4x1 and the 4x2. Luke Mills, Aiden Thompson, Tyler Zalagi, and Thomas Duere on the 4x1. And then same 3 guys, Mills, Zalagi ran the 4x2, and then Elias Mack and Ian Johnson joined in on the 4x2, and then Ian Johnson also wins the 400 in a time of 49.46 seconds. Only other winner from the Treasure Valley was Chris Olson from Coal Valley Christian in the long jump. And so Nampa Christian, again, on the strength of its relays and Ian Johnson, and they always have good distance runners. So Nampa Christian, congratulations. They didn't win the baseball title, Logan, but they came through with the boys track and field title.
Yeah. When we did that Direct Com Invitational, Nampa Christian was there for that, and they raced in that event. And there was a couple other teams just talking, saying, man, these guys are good. And whenever they would beat Nampa Christian in an event or something, they would hang their, they would say, I'm taking that to the bank. Like, I must be good if I'm able to knock off Nampa Christian in something, or beat a Nampa Christian runner in this event or that event, whatever it may be. And then, hey, look at that. It holds strong here in the state tournament but the state meet, right? They come out strong and they win a championship. And North Fremont coming in there 3rd place, man. Corbin Johnston, that's a guy that other track coaches are not disappointed to see drop off the radar, right? I think he's a senior. He's also been just a phenomenal, just like we just talked about Nilo Roberts. He's been a guy that's literally on everything you see for 2A track. He has been dominant.
Yep, for sure. So that's what happened to the 2A meet for Treasure Valley teams. 7 for 7. Can we make it 8 for 8? This is where the run ends. 2A girls. East Idaho sweeps the top 3 spots. But there were some individual champions from the Treasure Valley here. Melba was the longtime power, right? Brooklyn Daly wins the 800. Melba also wins the sprint medley relay. Brooklyn Daly runs the anchor leg there, and she's joined by Ella Stosich, Emma Dilbeck, and Hayden Higgins. Avery Reese of Napa Christian wins the 100 hurdles, and Macy Kern of Coal Valley Christian takes the pole vault.
Yeah, this one is so tough. I mean, Nettie Garbett has been doing so well at Soda Springs there. She seemed like she won everything at that Direct Com Invitational as well. And so that translates to what looks like, at least on paper, a nice, comfortable Soda Springs state championship.
Yeah, a lot of East Idaho on the 2A girls leaderboard. Okay, let's go to the 1A meet, Logan. Rockland follows up on their first ever boys cross country title this past fall with, I believe it's their first ever boys track and field title. I'll have to double check, but Rockland wins. The big story here is Tri-Valley ends up tied for third with Prairie. So they each get to take home a third place trophy. They each finished with 51
Did
points.
Did they cut it in half? And
right.
Somebody gets to take the left part, somebody takes the right.
Yeah, we talked about that during state wrestling, right? When Minico and Bishop Kelly tied for the championship. Yeah, well, I don't know how they settle that, actually. That's a good question.
You take it. We'll order another one.
Right. Clayton Harper, a double winner for the Tri-Valley Titans in the 100 and the long jump. Another double winner was Luke Stockett of Victory Charter. He swept the distance races, the 16 and 3200s. In the 1600, his time of 4 minutes, 19.24 seconds is a new Class 1A record. So way to go, Luke Stockett.
Yeah, awesome performance there for him. I mean, goodness gracious, that is almost a 4-minute mile. It's not that far off. That's it's super impressive.
Yeah, and of course he follows in the footsteps of his older brother Ian Stockett, who won all the and everyone's going, well, okay, how many Stocketts are left?
I know that name.
Yes. So other champions, Notice had a pair of champions. Adrian Avila in the 300 hurdles, and then Easton St. Germain won the shot put, 57 feet, 6 1/4 inch. That's a huge throw for a 1A athlete. And then we had Ruari Mulry of Idaho City win the discus, and Caitlin Jones of Horseshoe Bend takes the triple jump. So a lot of individual winners from the Treasure Valley at the 1A meet.
Yeah, Caitlin Jones, I believe, played football for Horseshoe Bend. Saw him a couple of times. We've covered Horseshoe Bend a couple of times over the last few years in football. Been fun to watch him play in that regard. And it's always fun to see those kids that you play other sports go out and do well in something else like track and field, right? We see a lot of other football, soccer, volleyball, whatever names here in track and field. And it's good to see another one like that.
Yeah. In fact, all those names I listed off played football except Luke Stockett, because Victory Charter doesn't have football. But
yeah, it's like I know, like even like the Ezra Hubbard, right? You know, you see names like that, you just know. That's it. Well, that's 1A, right? A lot of these kids are going to be playing. A lot of schools might not have baseball. Especially over in the Magic Valley area, so they play. We'll do a lot of track and field. So,
yep, for sure. All right, we'll wrap up with the 1A girls. Logan, nobody from the Treasure Valley in the hunt for the team title, and just one individual winner, but boy, did it count. Carlotta Papa from Liberty Charter wins the 100 hurdles in a time of 15:05. That is a new Class 1A state meet record.
Yeah, way to go. Carlotta, your team doesn't produce, obviously, a ton here, as they didn't come in first, second, or third, but you come out and just absolutely blow it out of the water in that 110-meter hurdle. So congrats. That's a great accomplishment to do. And just congratulations.
Yep, for sure. And yeah, that says 110 in girls track. It's 100.
100. Sorry.
No, it's my bad. That's a typo. So that's why I'm not the big graphics guy, Logan. That's your part of it. But
sure, you send it over next time.
I'm proud of the work I got here on these.
We'll take it.
Yes. So congratulations to all of our track and field champions, and so many great stories. Marlo Herford wrote a very extensive recap of everything that happened at state track. She got some incredible interviews with a lot of the athletes that were competing as well. You can check that out on the homepage at IdahoSports.com. All right, Logan, let's move into tennis. This was being hosted at schools throughout the Treasure Valley this past weekend. We'll start, even though that says 4A, ignore that. This is 5A tennis. Boy, I'll pay $1 for every
Don't
mistake
worry,
I made on
I
these.
post graphics all the time, and I don't change the name. Or I had a kid going 2 for 34 on one graphic. It happens.
Yeah, this is the 5A state tennis tournament. The boys scores. Timberline wins the boys title by 8.5 points over second place Boise. Eagle wins the girls title, a little more going away, 62.5 points. Boise takes second at 40. Show you how much of a runaway it is. Middleton took third, could only muster up 18 points on the girls' side. So Eagle, a pretty dominant win there. In terms of first place finishers amongst the individuals, on the boys' doubles side, Timberline's Alex Guo and Clay Kessler took first place there. On the girls' side, Eagle sweeps the first place finishes. Tatiana Larson, she was the number 4 seed in the bracket, and it ended up being like a 4 versus a 2. She upset the number 1 seed along the way, and so Tatiana Larson of Eagle wins girls singles. Lucy Merrick and Emma Tarducci of Eagle win girls doubles. And then Timberline wins the mixed doubles. It's 1 boy, 1 girl. Austin Avery from the boys' side, Maud Slots from the girls' side. We talked about this earlier in the season, Logan. I don't know if you remember, but Maud Slots is a great volleyball player and basketball player for Riverstone. And then Riverstone, obviously too small to have a tennis program, so she goes and plays with Timberline. That's pretty impressive for a girl at a 1A school to go win a 5A championship.
Yeah, right. Exactly. To come up and do that's incredible. I have a really good friend that who's on the tennis team at Middleton, and he posted a picture, or somebody did, saying, "Oh, third at state." And so I sent him a joke, Ricky Bobby, if you ain't first, you're last, just joking with him. But I said, I take that back. I'm just kidding. If you can make it to state at all, that's a great accomplishment. And then to place at state in any regard, top 5, that is also, you are one of the best 5 in what you do in the entire state. That's also a great accomplishment. So to come in third, if you're Middleton or Highland, a couple of steps behind, that's still a great accomplishment for those teams.
Yep. The 4A tennis meet, Logan. Bishop Kelly is always in the hunt. This year, the Knights take second in each competition. The Bishop Kelly boys fall by 8 points, 7.5 points to Century, coached by our own IdahoSports.com prepcaster, Sean Kane.
It couldn't have been anybody else. Besides, it had to be Central. I'm just kidding. That's awesome, Sean. Congrats, man, on the state championship. That's a big deal. I saw his pictures. They signed their banner today and hoisted it up in the gym. So it's just a fun experience that carries on to not just the day of, right? But you get to go home a champ, and then you get to have a piece of your championship stick around forever.
Yep. And then Bishop Kelly's girls took second by 8 points to Sandpoint, led by outstanding freshman Pepper Rickard. I mean, nationally ranked, won like the national doubles championship, U16 or whatever. So Sandpoint wins the girls title. No surprise there. Individual champions, Jack Tobin of BK does win the boys singles title. And the girls doubles team of Sophia Guzman and Kayla Nielsen from Bishop Kelly win the girls doubles title. So congratulations there. 3A tennis, Logan. It's a clean sweep for Treasure Valley teams. Weiser wins the boys title. It's a top 3. Weiser 1, Fruitland 2, Parma 3. And then on the girls side, Parma 1, Fruitland 2. Sun Valley Community School, the Cutthroats break up the monopoly by finishing third. We kind of thought it was going to be, I'll admit, coming in, I thought the Fruitland boys and the Parma girls were going to finish on top. So I was 1 of 2 on my predictions. Way to go to the Weiser boys, especially.
Yeah. And I mean, you look at the Parma girls, that's another program that, we talk about Boise, right, with track and field and cross country. But, in terms of historic programs, you got to look at Parma girls tennis up there with everybody else in that conversation. You go in the gym, and that is all, like half the gym is covered with tennis champs. They just roll through tennis, year after year. They seem they're right there. The boys are right there too, clearly. You see coming in third. So, Parma had a great end of the season in sports in general. We'll get to them when we get to baseball. but a great spring for Parma. I love to see that.
Yeah, I'm trying to count up the number of championships Parma's won.
They have.
Yeah,
It's,
8,
you just
9,
see it in the
10,
gym.
11,
It's
12,
tons.
13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Yeah, 26.
Jeez.
Between boys and girls. 26 championships.
I'm more impressed that you can count that high, Brandon. But no, I'm just kidding. That's all. Like, what other school has 26 champion? Like, let's take basketball, right? Like, go to a school and say, okay, who has 26 state championships between the boys and the girls? I'd be an interesting stat, Brandon. I'd love to do some analysis. Like, does that exist? Is that the most dominant boys plus girls program out there?
Ooh. The only one I could think of is maybe Lapway in basketball.
Oh yeah. That would be up there.
Yeah, that would be.
But that's got to be top 5. You would think maybe higher.
Easily.
That's just when you think tennis, you think Parma, right? They're just they're on top of it there.
Yeah, for sure. And they did have one individual champion as well. It came in mixed doubles. Peyton Johnson boy, Abby Searle girl win the mixed doubles title for Parma. And hey, shout out to Colin Cook and Diego Delgadillo from Weiser. They win the boys doubles title. Colin Cook was QB1 on that Weiser football team this fall.
It's always fun to see players. You see a lot of them go from football to baseball or football to track, but I like seeing players go football to tennis. Like that is you're a great football player like Cook is, and then you also play tennis. Middleton had a player like that. Weston Mills played football, had a couple pick sixes for the Vikings, and then went into state in tennis as well. So it's always fun to see that anywhere you look.
Yep. All right. And that wraps up tennis. Congratulations to all of our tennis champions. Logan, let's move to the links. The 3A boys golf tournament. This was held. I'm trying to remember where the 3A tournament was held this year. I know 2A was at Circling Raven up here in Worley, not far from where I live. I'll get back to you on it. But
yeah,
the big story here was Homedale takes second in the team race. And they were led by Luke Henry, who took third overall at 161. Ryland Pierce of Fruitland finished fifth. McCoy Swallow of Homedale finished ninth. Those were your Treasure Valley placers amongst the top 10.
Yeah, just not there for the Treasure Valley, like right in terms of placement. The Magic Valley, who knew they played such good golf over there, right? Buell, Filer, Kimberly, all in the mix there.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive to see how those Magic Valley teams did. Kimberly, especially. I mean, their entire 5 finished in the top 10 on the girls' side, which we'll get to here in just a moment. Let's do it. 3A girls golf. Here it is. Nobody from the Treasure Valley hits the top 3. Kimberly runs away with this thing, like I said. The top placer and the only placer from the Treasure Valley in the top 10 here, Logan, was Lucy Hickey of Weiser. She took fourth at 166. I mean, she was right there.
She was right there, yeah.
3 strokes away from being in this playoff, potentially, between Bonners Ferry and Kimberly.
Yeah, how would that have been to have a 3-way playoff? I mean, even Stancy there from Kimberly was right in the mix, too, being right there. Now, that's about 100 shots better than I would shoot on the course. So hey, that's I would take a 166 any day of the week.
Yeah. So we had a lot of crazy playoffs and card offs and things like that at the state golf meet this year for 3A and 2A alike. The 3A golf tournament ended up being at Rathdrum. Okay. I was like, I knew it was somewhere in North Idaho. I couldn't remember if it was Lewiston or Twin Lakes Village Golf Club in Rathdrum, Logan. So that's where the 3A golf tournament was. 2A golf tournament, as I said, was at Circling Raven, which is in Worley, right there by the Coeur d'Alene Casino. It hosts like LPGA events, national women's tournament. It's one of the premier golf courses in Idaho. And how about this? Compass Charter wins the 2A boys golf championship by shooting a 691. They were led by Cole Fay, who took 6th in a card off. So basically, he ties with Axel Silcock from Declo. They each shoot 158. If it's not for the championship, you don't do a playoff. They just look at the card. They pick a random hole on the card. Okay, hole number 5. Who had the better score? Oh, Cole Fay did. You win the card off. So he took 6th. And then the same thing happened to Hunter Sutton, sneaking in at number 10. He won a card off as well by shooting 170. But congratulations, Aviators from Compass Charter.
I have to go look. I'm not sure how many state championships Compass Charter has, but this has got to be one of the firsts, right? I mean, maybe they have one floating around somewhere, but it's not common to see the Aviators, like you said, coming through like this.
None that I can think of off the top of my head. It was their first golf title. I know that.
Right.
So, pretty impressive. So way to go, Compass Charter. And so we mentioned Cole Fay took 6th. Hunter Sutton took 10th. The highest placer was actually from Rimrock. Dylan McNelly took 3rd in a card off. And then Ryan Gonzalez from Napa Christian took 5th. Way to go there too.
Yeah. And this was a close meet, right? Brandon, you see, even if we look 1 to 7, just 7 shots different between the number 1 and the number 7. Not a lot of separation. This was pretty close between a lot of these guys. I mean, you saw 2, 3, in the top 10, 3 different individuals that had tied somebody with the same score.
Yep. So congratulations to Compass Charter again, winning the boys 2A golf championship. And it's a clean sweep for the Treasure Valley in 2A golf. Logan, Ambrose wins the girls 2A title by shooting a 684. Cole Valley Christian took 2nd at 702. And the top 2 finishers for Ambrose, the Von Barron girls. Ashley is a junior. Katrina is a senior. Katrina is going to Belmont, Division I Belmont, the Bruins. She's going to golf there next year.
Nashville.
She won the championship last year, and this year gets aced out by the younger Von Barron by a stroke.
Way to go. I would not want to meet have their family golfing behind me at the course. They would run right through you, because you can imagine how good mom and dad are as well. If these two are, can you imagine that I would love to have been in the car ride home after that.
Yeah. And they are not recently, but like fairly new to Idaho. They grew up in like Bend, Oregon, and the family moved over here to the Treasure Valley. And so Ambrose says, we'll gladly accept.
We'll take that.
Yes. And then here's a familiar name in 3rd, Logan, Chloe Singh Pursuit from Cole Valley Christian. Remember, she got to go down to Augusta and play a hole.
Yeah. And that just shows you how good the other 2 are, right? To have been able to knock her off, not by a lot, but by enough strokes to not only be 1st and 2nd, but win a championship.
Yep. Caroline Caven from Cole Valley Christian takes 5th, and Ella McNicholas from Ambrose finishes 6th. So congratulations, Archers. The Aviators and the Archers are your 2A boys and girls golf champions, respectively. Okay. That just leaves softball and baseball, Logan. We're going to put the brackets up on the screen and tell you what happened in every tournament. Let's start with softball, the 5A. Hey, season long, I've been saying it.
Look, on my pick, when we picked the softball champions, I should have picked Bora, because in my mind, I knew how much you had hyped them up so much. And then on day 1, after day 1, I looked and I saw where they were at. And then I was like, they're going to win it. Brandon's been tooting that horn. We've talked about them before on here. And, in my gut, I was like, they're going to get it done. Because then they did. They go and they beat Hawaii. They had to beat them in that extra game to get it done, but they do it. So, man, heck of a run there for Bora. Congratulations, Lions.
Yeah, Hawaii, the number 1 overall seed, lost to number 8 Coeur d'Alene right away, 10-7. They then beat Rocky Mountain 12-1, Eagle 6-4, Capital 13-7. They swing back through and beat Timberline in the 3rd place game 4-2. And then they even beat Bora in the first championship game 12-8, but they fall just short in that ultimate winner take all 2nd championship game 6-1. But Hawaii won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games in a row. And they would have had to have run the table and won 6 in a row to come all the way back and win the championship. They almost did it. that's pretty impressive too.
Yeah. Yeah, no, heck of a run for Hawaii to battle back. I mean, to number 1 seed, losing in the first round, and SIC champs losing in this. Baseball has been baseball's had problems being the number 1 seed as well. You'll see it in this tournament, but in past years too. But man, heck of a run, and this just shows you, right? It doesn't matter what your seed is when you get in. Everything's out the window. Everybody is 0-0. Everything just happens right there. It doesn't matter what happened at any point in the season, and Bora gets it done.
Yeah, Bora came in as the number 7 seed overall. Thunder Ridge, I think we can conclude, probably overseeded as a 2. They went 2 and out. The key win for Bora in this tournament was that quarterfinal game, if you'll call it, against Eagle on Friday. They won that game 1-0. That gave them some momentum. They beat Timberline 9-2. That put them basically into the championship. And so congratulations. Bora takes first, Owyhee second, Timberline third, and even Capital takes fourth. So really the top 4 spots all belong to teams from District 3.
Yeah, it's a heck of a run. Like you said, you set yourself up very well if you win, because Bora played 3 games and then they just got to sit, right? And if you win, the pressure's off, right? The next round, there's not as much pressure. If you lose, it's okay. I can come back around. But if you lose right off the bat, like Hawaii did, all of a sudden you're playing in these do or die games the whole way. Like your whole season is hanging on. There's no more margin for error, and they were able to almost get back. But congrats, Bora.
Yep. First softball championship in school history for Bora as well. So congratulations to Megan, Miracle, and the girls from Bora. Okay. 4A tournament, Logan, Bishop Kelly. So the storyline last year was, remember, Pocatello was in that undefeated game, and Skyview had to come back through and beat Pocatello twice to win the 4A title, and they did. Well, Pocatello was in that position this year. Bishop Kelly only had to beat Pokey once in the championship, and Pokey came back through and beat BK twice. Something about the 4A tournament and the team that has to win twice, winning twice to pull it off. It was pretty impressive to see Pocatello knock out Bishop Kelly first 15-2, and then in a much tighter game, 3-1. So congratulations to Bishop Kelly, who took second place. I know it's a bitter pill to swallow there.
Yeah.
And I think that 15-2 thumping by Pokey in that first championship game kind of shell-shocked them a little bit.
Yeah, to get, thumped like that, like you said, I think that's a surprising result, especially as a team that, coming in, you had won. Bishop Kelly had played close games, right? They had played a close game against Moscow. They played a close game against Twin Falls, and then they themselves beat Pocatello pretty handily, and then Pocatello handed it back to them. So it's like, I guess you want to call it a wash, those 2 games, and then it came down to a close one. It's just funny that each team whopped the other one, and then they played a close one for the final.
And really, if you look at BK, their path to the chat, they beat Moscow by a run in the opening round 5-4. They beat Twin in the next game by a run 7-6. So they were finding ways. And then ironically enough, they beat Pocatello in the undefeated semifinal 11-1. So that probably motivated Pocatello a little bit as well, coming through the backside of the bracket. Skyview was the other team here from District 3. They lose to Hillcrest right away by a run 7-6. Then they beat Wood River by a run 12-11. Then they fall to Twin. So Skyview's tournament run ends at a 1-2 record. But congratulations to BK, second place finishers. 3A state tournament, Logan. I really thought Homedale had a shot here, and they pushed Kimberly as much as they could. They came back through the bracket, and they would have had to have beaten Kimberly twice. This was one of the few tournaments that did not go to the, if necessary, second championship game. Kimberly takes care of business in the first championship game 9-6. So Homedale finishes as the runner-up. Congratulations in order there. The other team from District 3 was Weiser. They ended up going 2-out.
Yeah, great run by Homedale. Just that Kimberly team was just on top of it, right? You look at what they did during the tournament, right? They won 11-0 over Homedale. They're in that, I guess, is it semifinal-ish game. And then they won their opening round game by 16. They did have one close one there against Marsh Valley. But they were just determined, right, rolling through it. And great season for Kimberly, comes up just short for Homedale. Unfortunately, that's the tough pill to swallow for Homedale this year in baseball and softball.
Yep. And then Parma did make it to state as well. First time in 20 years that the Parma softball team made it to state. They pushed Marsh Valley in that tournament opener 10-8. And then they kind of ran out of steam against Timberlake 22-12. So Parma went 2-out. But what an accomplishment for the Panthers to get to state softball.
Yeah, they did it. Baseball, softball. Again, we talked about Parma, a great spring for Parma athletics, right? A couple of track and field athletes coming in strong, and then you got we talked about tennis, and now here baseball or softball, and then we'll get into baseball in a little bit.
Yep. 2A softball, Logan. This was up in Orofino. New Plymouth was kind of the Cinderella here. They were the 5 seed coming in. They got all the way to the 3rd place game. They lost to Declo right away, 14-3. And then they had to beat Salmon, and then they beat Orofino, the hosts, by a run, and then they beat Declo by a run, and then they had to play Cole Valley Christian in the 2nd place game, and they pushed Cole Valley, and the Chargers rallied to win 10-5. And then look at what Cole Valley Christian did. They slayed the dragon,
Literally.
the Malad dragon, right? They beat Malad twice to win the title, 8-2 in the first game, 8-7 in a nail biter in the winner take all second championship game.
Yeah, I love it when you see a championship come down to 8-7. But okay, Brandon, Lance told me the story about Malad and how they got the name Dragons. Have you heard the story?
No.
So I guess, back a long time ago, like not recently, obviously, but whenever the school was beginning sports, they got some uniforms ordered in from somewhere, and they were delivered. Horse and buggy, I don't know who delivered them back then. But they got whatever they got said Dragons on it. Like somehow they had gotten somebody else's stuff, so they were just like, well, I guess that's what we are. So it was totally a mistake again, this is coming from, Lance is an alumni of Malad, so I'll take his word for it. But it's kind of a cool story. But hey, Cole Valley Christian, like you said, Brandon, literally slaying the dragon to get the title. And that's tough. Like Malad, like how many years had it been since they even lost?
Yeah, it had been. I'll tell you, Malad had
they'd
won the last 4. They had not lost in a state tournament since 2019, 19, 21, 22, 23. So,
and Cole Valley had to beat them twice.
Yeah, pretty impressive.
Awesome.
Just to wrap up your Malad story, do you know what they were supposed to be called? If they weren't going to be the Dragons?
That's what I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay, that sounds kind of fishy. I feel like that's a detail you would know if this is a story you're peddling.
But I didn't ask that. That wasn't
okay, we'll ask.
He said it on air during a game, so he must stand by it enough to have said it like that.
Yeah. Nobody ever goes on television and lies.
No, they don't. That's not normal. Everything you see on TV is true, just like everything on the internet is true.
Yeah. Oh boy. All right. So congratulations to Cole Valley Christian, your 2A softball champions. And for Cole Valley Christian, that is their first softball championship as well. And then we wrap up with the 1A tournament here. Logan, Glens Ferry was kind of the top performer. They're technically District 4, but they play with District 3 here. They ended up taking 3rd place. In terms of proper District 3 teams, Greenlay Friends goes 2-out. Idaho City goes 2-out. Garden Valley got the furthest. They beat Idaho City in an elimination game, but then they fell to Potlatch 27-4. The strength really was in the North this year, and the question was Glens Ferry going to be able to break through and beat somebody? Ultimately, Genesee beats Kendrick 5-4 to win the title. Or excuse me, Kendrick beats Genesee in the first game, and then went to the winner take all second game. So the 3A tournament was literally the only one that didn't go the extra championship game, which tells me that softball in Idaho is getting a lot more competitive.
Yeah, like you love to see when that happens, right? When you get that back-to-back game, and it's just not some rollover type situation. It's we can beat each other.
Yes. So that's what happened at the 1A state softball tournament. And now we wrap up with baseball. Logan, the 5A state baseball tournament at Wolf Field at the College of Idaho in Caldwell. Hawaii does it again. Third title in 3 years of existence as a high school. Russ Wright legendary coach, won 8 titles in 10 years at Fruitland, wins an additional 3 here at Hawaii, and he is retiring, Logan, riding off into the sunset at the absolute top of the mountain. Congratulations to Hawaii. It was difficult. They beat Highland 7-4. That was a game that Highland led early. They had to rally to beat Lake City 3-2 in 9 innings, extra innings. They won on a walk-off RBI single by Caleb Doty. They were actually down a run in the bottom of the 7th against Lake City. They were down 2-1, down to their final out, and they walk off there. And then they beat Rocky Mountain 5-4. Rocky scored 4 times in the top of the 5th to make it a nail-biter. Each time Gage Hawes in the semifinals and championship came in relief to basically get the win and the save respectively. So Hawaii wins. Rocky is second. Mountain View, the number 8 seed, they take third. I think the biggest storyline here was Eagle, the number 1 seed, goes 2-out, and Middleton, the number 5 seed, gets shellacked by Highland in that consolation final 9-2 as well on the backside.
Yeah, this is the second year in the row, because I believe Middleton won the SIC last year, if I remember right, and then they came out and they went 2-out. Eagle does the same thing here, right? Eagle comes in and they go 2-out, and Eagle and Middleton played each other, right, in that best of 3 SIC championship series, and they both lose in the first round. It's just a funny game, right? When you get into a tournament and you just have a bad day for whatever reason. And you know what? You look at these scores. I mean, outside of that Highland Coeur d'Alene game and even that Middleton Highland game, like the first round, you could tell that the pitching was there, and you were there. So maybe I'm wrong, but you look at that and say these teams were not that far apart in terms of what they were putting on the field. It's just maybe a bad night at the plate, right? Just don't get it done, and the defense plays well, and all of a sudden you don't win. If you can't get runs on the board, can't get guys on base, just doesn't go your way.
Yeah, really, Eagle and Middleton, both base running mistakes, defensive errors, kind of is what did and why he played the best and ran the bases the best, and that's why they won. 4A tournament. I know you're trying to get out of here, Logan. So
you're good.
We'll go quickly. Bishop Kelly in a prime spot against Moscow in the championship. They are leading by a run going into the bottom of the 7th. Can't finish the job. Moscow walks it off, and so BK falls 7-6 to take second place. Skyview, the number 1 seed, somehow lost to Bonneville on the first day, 6-4. They rebound to win the consolation final by a pair of 10-0 5-run inning rules.
Yeah, it's like they came out mad. And you see this, Brandon, sometimes go the opposite way. You lose in the first round, and some teams just pack it up and say, that's it. I came here for a championship, honestly, and I don't want anything else. And, man, that's tough, because Bonneville wasn't even in like the top 2 of their league. I believe that league came down to Blackfoot and
but I mean, Bonneville did take second. Yes,
they did. Sorry, it was Blackfoot and Bonneville. They played each other in their I was thinking of somebody else, but the 8 seed to come in against a 1 seed that was a lot of people really liked Skyview in that tournament, and man, Bonneville came out and got it done. But then that's impressive to me what Skyview is able to do on the back end to not get discouraged and come out and at least finish the job rather than rolling it up.
Yeah, and for BK, it's a gut punch way to lose, but they've delivered the gut punch to so many teams over the years. I don't feel that bad.
Yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, you've had your moment.
Yeah, you could fall every once in a while too.
Hey, I picked Moscow in my bracket. I picked Moscow to win it all, so I feel a little smart right now.
Yes, that was a savvy pick there in the pick 6 for sure. 3A tournament. This is where you were, Logan. Homedale gets the championship against Sugar Salem. I know this bracket doesn't indicate it, but Sugar Salem ends up winning the championship over Homedale. A refrain that we've heard so often. Before we get to that, let me just quickly give a shout out to Parma. They came back and won the consolation final over South Fremont 7-0, and they pushed Homedale more so than any other team until I don't know. The 16-6 score doesn't indicate how close that game was.
No, they were up 6-1 in the 4th inning. Parma was up and they were hitting. It was Peyton Fine that went out on the mound, and they were hitting him. Like, they were doing just fine, and they were getting guys on base. They were moving. it's like they knew what was going on. They knew what to expect. They knew what was coming, and they reacted well. They ended up, I think I'm not sure what if Peyton Fine just had just a bad day or what, but they swapped him out for Lucas Hall, and Hall came in and ended up closing it out, and they ended up mercy ruling him. And they flipped the script, right? And I think they scored 11 runs in the bottom of the fourth. So they went into the bottom of the fourth down 6-1, came out of it up 12-6. It was a bad inning for Parma, and that was the difference. But they went on and they beat the defending champs in the next game 9-6. Heck of a performance right there. And then they go on and then they dominated South Fremont in that game, just completely dominated the game. I'm trying to think who it was that was the pitcher. I need to look at my notes here. Caden Cole comes out, throws a shutout there in the game. And that was the worry. Sometimes you see the 6, 7, 8 seeds in these tournaments maybe have two really good arms, and then it starts to fizzle out as the tournament goes along. But that was their best pitching performance was on day 3 against the South Fremont team that also hung with the state champs in Sugar Salem, right? And it's just a very interesting tournament, but huge congrats to Parma for what they were able to do. Even in the booth, it was full of Weezer folks, and you could tell, they were a little like, just it's so good to see Parma do well. Like they were glad to see Parma do well. We were too. It was a fun chance to see the Panthers get it done.
Yeah.
And bring home a trophy. First time ever at 3A.
Yes. Fruitland nearly did as well. They fell to Sugar Salem in a very tight semifinal 4-3, and then just couldn't get enough hits in a 5-2 loss to Kimberly in the third place game. So Fruitland takes 4th officially. And then take me through this championship, Homedale and Sugar Salem, because it was just like BK, where BK had the lead going into the 7th inning against Moscow and couldn't hang on. Same thing happened to Homedale against Sugar.
And one thing, congrats to Sugar. I know they win it in just about everything, and it's a broken record that Sugar Salem wins a state championship. It's also a broken record that it happens against Homedale. Unfortunately, here's the thing: to win a state baseball championship, you got to score 3 more runs than your opponents. Sugar Salem scored 4 more runs than their opponents. They did it by the slimmest of margins, but this game was back and forth. Sugar Salem came out and scored in the top of the first inning. Homedale answered. The first couple of innings were, and I'd have to go back and look at the runs that occurred. But both teams were just coming out swinging, and they ended up tying each other up at 6 after like the first 2 innings. And then after that, everybody settled in, and it got good, and everybody was neck and neck. Homedale gets up right going into the 7th inning. They lead it by 1, 7-6. And then was it? Yeah, 7-6. Sugar down to their last out in the top of the 7th inning. They tie the game. And then they take a lead, and then they end up putting 4 runs up there in the top of the 7th inning. So now they go to the bottom of the 7th up 10-7. Homedale gets 2 runs across there in the bottom of the 7th inning. They have Dylan Fine on second, Peyton Fine at the plate. You like what you got there. The top of the order is up for Homedale. You get 2 runs across. You get through the bottom of the lineup. That's the thing is Homedale came out with the bottom of the lineup up. They got through it. And they get there, they just couldn't get it done. And it felt bad for Homedale. You felt good for Sugar on one side because of what they had to go through, right? Where it was fitting that Sam Chappell hit the hit to tie the game. His brother passed away on his mission back in March. So there's 2 Chappells on that team, and they're brothers, and their brother passed away, and then they got to go and win a state championship. They all the Sugar hats had this little thing on the back that said "Safe at Home" in honor of Mac Chappell. But Homedale just right there, just another unfortunate mishap against Sugar Salem. It just slipped away. And they had Peyton Fine on the mound, and he had done so well throughout the game. It just slipped up there at the end. Sugar Salem just able to get it done. And Lance and I were talking, and Lance went down and talked to a lot of the Homedale and Sugar, folks that were there. And those two teams, people joke that they hate each other and stuff like that. And I'm sure there is some of that. I think somebody even said it at Homedale. If you stub your toe, it's not, oh, dang it, it's, oh, sugar. That's their swear word. But they respect each other a ton. I think both of those schools know that if a season ends playing each other, that it was a good season, even if they come away on the losing end. Tons of respect between those two schools, because a lot of those baseball players on both teams are also on the football team. So they have had many experiences with each other in championships. So yeah, just a great run by Homedale. It's just too bad it came up just short when they were right there and they had it, and it just slipped away.
Yep, that's it was a tough one for Homedale, for sure. 2A tournament.
They got no hit in the semifinals. Kimberly threw a no hitter, and just wild pitches, pass balls is what did it for Homedale. They scored 2 in a row after the ball went in the dirt. And so, you got to win however you can. So they did it in a variety of ways.
It was nice after, I remember the tournament you and I were at, where they've always had this great pitching, and their defense had made a couple of bad plays, and that cost Homedale a win at state. And so it was nice to see them be on the other end of it for a change.
Yeah.
Get a win there. So, all right, Logan, the 2A tournament, this was over in Pocatello. Nampa Christian loses right away to Wendell 5-1. That was seismic.
Were checking in on scores throughout the day, and I would, say it in the booth, and all the other people would hoot and holler about whatever, and whatever the score was, or what's this score. And when we came through with that result, they were like, "Is that a mistake? Is that not?" And I said, "No, that's real." I could not believe that.
Anybody
way to go, Wendell, though, right? Hey, take your tip, your half to Wendell.
Anybody who tells you they had a Final Four of Wendell, Orofino, Chalice, Mackey, and Grangeville, they're lying. They're lying to you.
Yes. Man, what a heck of a performance by Wendell to get it done. Nampa Christian comes back around and ends up playing Cole Valley. And ironically, it's Cole Valley that wins it right after having lost to Nampa Christian during the district tournament. And Cole Valley gets it done at state where it matters to get a state trophy out of it.
Yep. So congratulations to the Chargers for bringing home that consolation trophy. And then the 1A tournament, Logan, more of the same. Third year in a row, the North sweeps the South in that opening round. You had Glens Ferry and Idaho City playing for the consolation title. Wildcats fall just short, 13-10. Same thing happened last year. Idaho City got to that consolation game and fell to Vision Charter. So Wildcats still looking for their first trophy at state baseball in school history. They'll have another crack at it next year. Vision Charter went 2-0. They pushed Troy in that first round 7-4.
Yeah,
and
then scores were close in the first round. Heck, look at Glens Ferry, only a run away from the. Somehow Potlatch comes out of this thing and wins the state championship. But what if Glens Ferry flips, a run or two or stops a run or two from coming across? Do the Pilots go on a run to a championship?
Yeah. And Idaho City gave Kendrick a tougher game than Clearwater Valley did in the semifinals, right?
Yeah. So. Yeah. Maybe it wasn't as behind as we expected. When you look at it, it looks like we were right there here in District 3. Just a couple, a 3-run game is maybe 1 or 2 swings difference. And just a great, no championship trophies, but I think a lot of positives came out of this tournament for District 3.
Yeah, it was a fun weekend of spring sports. It was very jam-packed. I saw a lot of media colleagues from TV stations and newspapers that would be at the 5A. That's where I was, the 5A state baseball tournament. They'd be there for a fleeting moment, and then they would be running off somewhere else in the valley to go cover something else. It was nuts.
Yeah, there's almost too much to cover this weekend.
Yep. For sure. So, all right, we went way long. We always do on this last show of the year because we want to make sure we give all the spring sports champions their due. And now we kind of right off into the off season, Logan. We might pop in occasionally with some off season interviews. I think what I'd like to do is to feature one interview a week. It doesn't have to be on the Treasure Valley. It might be in East Idaho episode, but I'm going to put it in the Treasure Valley Prepcast
Right.
feed. So throughout the summer, you can hear what our other Prepcasts sound like from North Idaho and the Magic Valley and East Idaho, and that'll carry us through the summer. We, of course, will hop on and do some interviews as well, but just stay tuned for the summer schedule.
Yeah, and we'll have lots of stuff coming on the website over the summer, right? We'll have, I think Brandon's got something in the works for, you'll just be on the lookout. Be on the lookout for stuff on the website. Just because there's no games to keep track of, that doesn't mean the content will stop on Idaho Sports.
Let's just say Brackets Baney isn't quite done
Brackets
just yet.
Baney is back. His hat is back.
That's right. So stay tuned for all of that great content. But until then, Logan, enjoy the rest of the school year. You got to be within
2 days left for us.
That's
2 days.
crazy.
My son had his preschool graduation thing today. So we went to that, but the other two, they're done on Thursday. It's crazy.
How exciting. That's going to be a lot of fun. We made it to the end of the school year, everybody. Hey, if you're celebrating for graduations and things like that, end of the school year, please do so safely. All right. We want to see everybody make it through the summer and into the next school year or on to college. Okay. I know there's a lot of, graduation celebrations and things like that happen every year. Just be safe, please. That's my PSA to everybody out there. So
yeah,
definitely. All right.
About to have a visitor.
Okay.
Oh,
Logan.
Okay.
There he is.
Well, here's a little one.
Hello. Hi.
Oh, look, Hop made the show. That's
hi.
That's Parker's rabbit that he's takes everywhere. So
yeah, perfect.
anyways.
He might replace you as co-host next season.
He might. We'll have to have Hop drop in here and there.
Yep. All right. Well, for Logan and Parker and Hop, I'm Brandon Baney. Hey, thanks for tuning into the Treasure Valley Prepcast all season, everybody. We'll see you this summer into the off season. But until then, thanks for tuning in on IdahoSports.com.